He's going to do it. I'm going to have some water, too.
Dang.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to today's education session. This is going to be make more money with technology in the detailing industry. And I can't think of two better people to teach this class. I'm actually really surprised that this isn't the fullest session of the event because this is so imperative to the business, at least in my opinion.
If it had been just me, it would have been full with Brandon and Rod,
sorry,
and
man.
it took a hit. It took a hit.
Oh, hell no. No way.
So a couple housekeeping items is if you are an IDA certified detailer, this class is good for one continuing education
Boom.
for certification maintenance.
You're welcome.
If you're
You're
interested
welcome.
in
What we
the
do.
IDA
It's what we do.
certification phase one, there will be an event tomorrow that I think there's still some available time slots. Also, Friday night is the IDA's annual business and word ceremony. So 5:30 in the Lafayette room. It's going to be a great time. So stop by. There's going to be food. It's open
gonna
to
be a good
anybody.
time.
So please, if you're interested, stop by. I think this year's going to be awesome. Also, don't forget to stop by the IDA booth, number 1039, see what's happening in the IDA and grab a member ribbon. Want to thank the sponsors, Detail Plus and Overt Car Care. And I'm going to introduce Rod, and then I'm going to let Dustin take over for himself. So Rod Pusey, CDSB. Rod Pusey, it's Pusey, right?
Yeah.
All right.
You got it.
Right. Is driven by a deep passion for business success and co-creator of RoadFS software, a complete software solution that has set the standard in the detailing industry. He is dedicated to empowering individuals to thrive in all aspects of their lives. Rod is a proud member of the IDA and is a certified, skills-validated detailer and an IDA Founders Club member. He is the co-host of the RoadFS podcast with his partner in crime, Jody Cedric, which has received awards in this industry for leading podcast and is the longest running detailing business podcast. Rod has been involved in the automotive industry since 1986. I was 5 years old.
Ooh, that's bad. That's bad.
Right. No, I look good for 100.
In the following roles, ASC certified mechanic, professional restoration of classic autos, Air Force One with detailing success, Peterson Automotive Museum with Sonax USA and New Generation Detailing, and as a speaker at detailing events such as MTE, STC, and others. I'm going to turn it over to Dustin to do his.
Nice. Everybody give him a round of applause. That's a hell of a bio. I'm basically just Dustin Jackson. So I don't have it. No, seriously, I'm Dustin Jackson. I own a detailing operation down in Mobile, Alabama. Owned and operated over 12 years. I started myself under a carport, grew it up to over 40 employees now. We do north of $2 million a year now in detailing. I own a software company called Bookie. And quite frankly, if I would have known about 6 years ago that RoadFS existed, I probably would have never built a software, flat out. I built a software not to sell to detailers. I built a software to manage my business and solve my problems. I felt like it did a good enough job to bring it to market. And so we started selling, and that's where I met these guys. They are fantastic. They have a fantastic product. I absolutely love and I'm honored to share a stage with these guys and have the utmost respect. So that's a little bit about the software. I own a few other companies, a retail outlet store. I own a storage facility, a marketing company, and an events planning company. So a lot going on, a lot of business. I like to stay busy, obviously. And I've been doing it a long time. Serial entrepreneur, self-admittedly. I have my first business license when I was 14 years old. I've never gotten a paycheck from anybody else but myself. And I've done a few events and spoken at a few things. Yeah. So
and he runs marathons.
And run marathons and then an Ironman. So, you know, listen, most of you guys know who I am and kind of know my backstory. And absolutely just humbled to be here. And like I said, share a stage, and hopefully you guys can hear some of our experiences and what we've dealt with and what we've learned over the years and apply it to something that, you know, maybe you're troubled with today.
Yep. And the whole reason you're seeing the two software companies together is because Dustin and I both have a real passion and belief that the people at the top collaborate and the people at the bottom get in scuffles. So I would rather work with Dustin because I have a lot of respect for him, his product, the people that follow him really love his stuff, and that tells me a lot about him. So I'm honored to be here as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just talk about software in general and what you can do to make money, because software is like any other tool you have in your tool belt. It's like a good pad, a good polish, a good technique. It makes you money. And if you're not making money with technology, then you need to be here and learn how to do that.
Yeah, and mentioning to that, the only way that software and technology can help you is if you use it. Just like the polisher, if you were to buy a polisher and go set it over on the workbench, it's not going to make you $1. There's no difference if you come and set up a software with these guys or any other software for that matter, and you don't use it, it's not going to do you any good. So using it is key. And we say that because we know a lot of you guys that sign up don't use it, and it can't help you if you don't.
So the first thing we want to talk about is we just picked 3 randomly. There could be 100, but the 3 biggest challenges in your business, and we're going to do some guessing here. One of them is getting business, right? One way you get business is marketing. Now you're going to say, how do you market through software?
Yeah. Right.
But softwares have pieces in them where you can email people, or you can text people, or you can send out a reminder, or you can send out hey, your maintenance program is due next week. So you got to also look at who you're marketing to. There are so many people, and we randomly picked 2 people. Visual Perfection, which is Jamie Buchanan. You might have seen him on a show called Dirty Old Cars. And then a guy out of Utah named J&G Auto. These guys do not market to other detailers. Right. You need to market to consumers. You need to put your marketing efforts towards that. We all want to look good. I want to market and make sure Dustin knows how cool I am. Yep. But the thing is, when you're marketing to other people that are in the detailing industry, you're not doing yourself any favors and you're not bringing any money in. So change that technology and market towards. Go out and look at J&G Auto. He's got, I don't even know how many followers he's got on Instagram. It's unbelievable. And of course, you all know Jamie, and he's out there marketing to his consumers.
Yeah, and so kind of kicking on that, on the marketing side of things, how software can help you specifically in marketing is understanding the numbers, right? If we're spending money in marketing, because, Detail Bookie is not going to go run an ad for you. RoadFS is not running ads. What we're going to do is tell you how well those ads are performing. We know how many customers you're creating. We know how many estimates you're building, your conversion percentage, how many jobs you're selling. Information is everything. If you're spending money on marketing and you don't know what that's getting you, you might as well just go roll it and dump in a wheelbarrow and dump it out over here because you don't have a clue. Information is everything, and that's just what software provides you.
Second piece of that is getting business is scheduling. And a lot of people are doing online scheduling. Obviously, the name here, Detail Bookie. Yep. And all the other softwares is getting people to send you stuff. There's nothing worse than being in the middle of a detail, middle of a job, and your phone rings, and you have to make a decision. Stop what you're doing and answer that future money, or keep doing this work. And if he's looking over my shoulder while I'm working on his car, I just took the focus off of his car. Yep. So online scheduling or technology can help you by doing that, by sending the scheduling right to your program so that when you're done and you've written up your invoice and sent it to the client, then you can go look at it and you can talk to that next person. You don't have that feeling that I'm going to lose this job, right? As entrepreneurs, we all think, man, I got to answer that phone every minute. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I got to answer the phone. You don't. Let the technology do it for you.
Yeah, it's peace of mind, right? It's being able to worry about the next thing, because we all have something to worry about, by the way. We're all business owners. You all got something to stress on. Take and minimize that by putting some of that stress into a platform that can stress on it for you. Also, in my office, there's a dry erase board that's about 16 feet long, and it had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday divided up evenly, and about 1,000 clips on it. And we used to put paper tickets up there. And I had detailers running in and out of my office, pulling up tickets. And I had customers calling in, hey, when is my C-Pro going to be done? You had it for 3 weeks. When are you going to be? It was a cluster, and there was no growth potential. There was no, and I hate to use the word scale because some of you may be thinking, I don't want to scale. I don't want 100 businesses. I want one. But you still need information. Your customers still need to understand what's going on, and that's less you have to stress on. We have computers that can think about this stuff now. We don't have to think about it when you're going to do a job or when it's going to be done or when it's supposed to be done. Yep. And schedules are dynamic. They're fluid. They move. We know that a job's going to take you an hour longer than you expected to. We understand that as software guys, and we have built-in functions to solve that problem. So just know that the information is everything, and it's peace of mind, and that's what it gives you.
Yep. And then the last thing there is just what we've been talking about, detailer or entrepreneur, both. You can be
yeah.
both. Let the technology help you be an entrepreneur if you want to focus on the detailing. If you're more on the business side, let the software be, let it be the entrepreneur and run the business for you. So just it can do both.
It does, and it bridges that gap.
Yep. Second thing, keeping business, right? Once you got a customer, you want to keep that customer. Technology is key to that. We all know that touching a customer, man, if I know that Dustin's into bass fishing, every time he comes in, I'll be, hey man, how's that bass boat doing?
Absolutely.
You know, you're gonna make that touch point, right? And keeping that customer experience before, during, and after. If they're doing an online schedule and you look professional and they can see your services, and we got Detail Billy here, his stuff is pristine, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see his stuff, his customers know him. That is going to be the before. Then the during is how you're posting pictures and you're putting them online and you're sending them a text message. Here's how far along your vehicle is or whatever. Oh, hey, by the way, I found this little dent. Did you want to have me take that out too? And then there's the aftercare. And so that aftercare is where we get into that second thing.
Absolutely. So customer experience is everything. And believe it or not, your notebook is not sufficient, nor is your text messages. You cannot possibly remember 3,000, 2,000, 1,000 customers, their birthdays, or what that conversation was last week or last month or last year. Software helps you do that. You can add notes. You can remember things such as the bass fishing and touch on those things. And that customer feels like they're the only one that you're dealing with ever. Making a customer not feel like a number, but feel individualized is everything in customer service. And by the way, that should be the top-notch thing that you focus on.
Yeah.
Before, during, and after, creating that workflow where things just happen and you're not fumbling around for your text message on when they may have sent it to you, or your notebook where you wrote something down while you're driving down the road. All that stuff can be automated, and all that kind of stuff can be put into a system that it manages it. And that's another thing that takes it off of your plate.
Yep. And then the other thing is that the thing is that communication. The emails afterwards, automatic things that say, hey, your car's ready to be picked up at 5. Here's a link to our payment portal.
Yep.
Follow-ups where you can say, hey, I want to have, gosh, man, when we were building this, and I know when Dustin was building his, I had this dream. It's like, look, man, if I could have every ceramic customer that I did in the last 6 months start a timer and automatically get a reminder that says, hey, your 6 months maintenance, you got to do that by June if you want to keep that warranty on the ceramic. So those kind of things, let the system do it. Here in a minute, you're going to see a picture that we took from an actual customer, and they were multi-million-dollar customer, and it's a shit show. It's
amazing how these things work. You know, it's amazing how these things work.
$35 million a year
on paper.
Wow.
On paper. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Ma'am.
I will say that when my customers come in, that's one of the things that they tell me is, oh, I love the reminders. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. And even like my older customers will come in, because they get doctor text messages.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, that was so nice. Thank you for reminding me. So convenient. Because a lot
Yep.
of people don't like talking on the phone anymore anyway.
Yeah.
So they love it. Even in our Google reviews, our Google reviews have, we love the text messages. We love how they can reach out to us, and it's convenient.
We don't any longer have to be just the guy with the bucket and the brush and the soap. Okay, detailing doesn't have to be that. We are a professional industry, and we needed something that represented us that way. Doctor's offices and dentist's office, they send out appointment reminders. Why can't we do that? We can, and we do. I'm gonna give you an example here of customer experience, and I'm gonna refer to your marriage. It's cheaper to keep them. Okay. In my case, it wasn't. This joke never gets old, but it's cheaper to keep them. Okay. Customers cost you money. You pay money. Any kind of marketing you do is customer acquisition. Anytime that customer comes back, you divided that cost in half every single time. Okay. So this follow-up, this thing that this system can just do automatically. And by the way, I know you're not doing it if you don't have something like this in place, because there's no way you're looking through your notebook or through your text messages or through any of the communication to find out when Bob had his ceramic coating 6 months ago, and you're just going to tell him, hey, it'd be a great time for a top coat. That ain't happening. It's not happening. A system like this doesn't forget. It starts the timer. It happens on time. It nudges the customers. It's cheaper to keep them. It happens repetitively, and it never calls in sick, and it never no-shows.
Yep. I'm gonna throw an example out here of a gentleman that we posted, and it's up here later on. But he used that reminders. he was completely dead in the water. He had no work. He's like, man, I'm dying over here. And we sent out one email, a marketing email to his existing customers to touch on that point. He called us the next day. He said, that one email just net me $3,100. He called us the next day. He goes, I'm up to $6,000. And the next day he had booked an entire month off of one email. So when people come in and go, I don't need technology, man, it's too much money. So that $65 a month is way too much. I'm like, are you kidding me? You just booked a guy's entire month with one email. So it works. We've seen this work with hundreds and hundreds of people and thousands of customers all over the world. We're in multiple countries. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thought there is, well, my way's not broke, don't fix it, and that sounds good, but there's no growth potential in there, and there's no, any kind of expansion. It's just, you're just stuck there. And that mindset works, but it's not going to get you anywhere, So being able to evolve and automate and put things in place that can help you do that, such as software, that's the direction things are headed.
Yep. All right, this is it. $35 million a year company. This was their system. And they originally said, well, we don't need any of that. We're doing great. You are doing great. But how'd you like to add some money to that? One of our very first customers kept telling us, it's not a big deal. It's not really a big deal. And we asked him to look at his costs. And he wrote down on a spreadsheet his costs. And then he freaked out and called me on the phone. He goes, there's no way. I said, there's no way what? He says, these numbers, they can't be right. And I'm like, well, you did them.
Right.
So he ended up adding over $80,000 a year in his first year using our software, just by automating his processes and cutting out the person that was doing this didn't lose their job. They just did something that was more important than scribbling on paper. Yeah.
And let's be real about this picture. So most detailers that are still using pen and paper or not have anything in place whatsoever would probably die to have this kind of organization. I know. I've seen it. I mean, this looks great to what an average pen and paper detailer uses. Usually it's a notebook, or it's sticky notes all over their dash, or it's something in the shop pinned to a board, or it's something like that that's going to fall between the cracks. It's going to fall off. So even as great as this is, imagine putting all this into a system that can do it for you. And that's the whole concept, is like all you have to do is put a job in, and then all this stuff happens around it.
Yes, sir. Okay. Third one is managing your business. And this is where the growth comes in that Dustin's talking about. There's a lot of us that are really, really controlling in the detailing industry, might I say, right? We don't like, I can do it better.
Well, we're all the best, in case you didn't know. We're all the best detailers.
But if you want to grow, you need to be able to manage the business. And you cannot do that. You can be the best detailer in the world, and you cannot manage your business if you don't have some kind of automation. So we put in just a few things. Again, we talk about scheduling. If I got 15 guys out in the field, or women out in the field, men, women, whatever, kids, I don't care if I'm hiring squirrels. I cannot keep an eye on those squirrels unless I can track what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's simple, right? You need to, like, the whole idea is to, what can you take off of your plate and let something handle? That's, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, your job is to create efficiency and effectively take tasks and delegate. Okay. So software is no different than an employee. What jobs can I put on it and let it handle that I don't have to handle any longer? And scheduling is a prime example of it. And then we'll keep going. So, I mean, that's the whole concept.
So you're tracking your work, right? You want to know what you did and when you did it, how you can do it. If you got a shop like Billy here, how many bays you got in your shop, Billy?
8.
So you got 8 bays, right? And if I'm scheduling something, Dustin's scheduling something, Jody's scheduling something, Vicky's scheduling something, how do I know which bay to put it in, right? Well, we all know. I mean, we all know what the wash bay is. I'm guaranteeing you've had a conflict in 2 bays where somebody's got this. I needed it, right? We've all seen that situation. And if you're not tracking that work, what goes where, then you're not going to know. So I know that in ours and in his, there's ways to do it. There's color coding, there's tags, there's way to say that I can automatically schedule, this person or that person for that particular job, right? I got a PDR guy. Well, when I do my PDR kit, I automatically want to send a text message to him or an email, right? So you got to track that work, and not just on the front end, but on the back end, like Dustin's saying. How many people in here have more than like 20 services you provide?
Oh, I think we all do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but how many of you don't have any idea what your highest grossing and your lowest grossing service is? Why do you have 20 services? right? You could have 5. If there's 6 of them that aren't making you any money, well, I make about 2% on that one, and I only do it once a year. Pitch that one. But if you don't track your work and you don't have reporting to know what you're doing, you're not going to know how to do that.
Yeah, I think it's like a good time to think about why software exists in the first place. As much as we would like to believe we're just like the smartest people you've ever met, we're not. We knew that we had a problem to solve, okay? And we knew that there's only so much manpower we can afford to bring in and help us solve the problem. So there's things that we want to bring in to let software do, and we can offload that. Tracking work, like understanding the information that you have at your fingertips. If you're tracking it, then you can refer to it. You can make business decisions based on it. So if we know, just like Rod's saying, if we know how many packages or what packages we're selling the most of and what packages we're selling the least, we can, with information, we can determine what packages we should promote and what packages we should eliminate. And so without this, you're just not going to thumb through that pile of paper and say, well, how many headlight restorations did I sell this year? You don't have to do that anymore. Let something for $65 a month or whatever, $100 a month, let's just round it, $100 a month, do it for you. I mean, just in that alone, what a headlight restoration you would charge for one headlight restoration a month, it's going to tell you how many you've done. It's going to tell you all the information behind it.
Yep. And how many times do you get we get people all the time that call us, but I'm sure you have friends or mentors or other detailers like, man, it's February now, and I'm always dead in February. Okay, run some reports and see what you do sell in February. That's the thing to run a special on. If you're my buddy in Alaska this time of the year, he is the interior king. Mm-hmm. He is killing it on interiors. He's not dead. This is one of his busiest times because he knows by tracking this, he's like, man, and as soon as January and February hit, everybody wants their interiors cleaned out. So he runs a special on interiors and he brings in the business. Employee management, we talked about that, but really you need to know who's where and where they're going and how much they're getting paid. And if I'm working for Dustin and I'm on a piecework, how many jobs did I do? Who's making me the most money? How can I help get you some training or get you, man, you're top of your game. You're killing it. I need you to train him. I'm going to give you another percentage point so that you can get some incentives,
Yeah, I mean, with the employee management, understanding how much your cost is per hour is huge, and then how much you need to make per hour. This, again, I'm just throwing everything back to information. If you have everything wrote down on a piece of paper, you have zero clue who's doing what, how much you're paying for it, how much you're making for it. So understanding your shop rate, understanding what you need to charge per hour, all that boils back down to understanding how much your cost is per hour and putting something in place that can help you understand that. Yeah, you can look at the checking account and say, okay, I've got $1,000 in there. I must be making money. But that's not the point. Like first of all, that's not accurate. And second of all, you need to understand these things. And so it's impossible without something or it's improbable that it's something without something behind the scenes to help you manage this stuff, to help you track this stuff, to give you the information to make those great decisions on time management and employee management. That's what these systems do.
Getting paid, which is different than paying your employees. Getting paid is making sure you're getting people to have, they have terms. You're 15 days. If you're doing a big dealership or you're doing a big client, making sure you get paid. If you go back to some of those reminders, if you're automatically, every time an invoice is completed, sending out, here's a link to our payment portal. You are going to get paid more often. My accountant for our personal business, for RoadFS and our software company, he's blown away. He's like, how do you get paid so fast? And I'm like, because I send out a reminder. Hey man, Kyle, thanks for your business. Here's a link.
Yeah, the squeaky wheel. People sometimes just like, hey, you know what? He's not gonna let me forget. He's not gonna forget. I'm taking care of this. Yep. And unfortunately, that's kind of the unfortunate side. You have to do those things sometimes. However, let something do. Why pay somebody $15 an hour to sit there and make phone calls? When you have a system that you can charge, that again doesn't call in sick, $100 a month, and it's going to nudge the open ticket and the open invoices that are unpaid, and it's going to nudge them to take payment. And no, by the way, that customer don't have to show up and pay it; they can pay it right there from their phone at their convenience. Add the tip, view the invoice, and pay it. It makes sense.
Yep. And the one thing I want to mention on that is employees are great for what they do, right?
Absolutely.
So you got a detailer, you're going to pay them X number of dollars. The $100 a month you're paying for this is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't take vacations. So if you look at that per hour, you are paying nothing for this.
Absolutely. And you know, the thing is, it's a tool, right?
Yes,
It doesn't
yes,
eliminate any jobs. It makes them better at their job. There's a reason that we don't polish cars by hand. There's a reason we don't sit literally compound like this. It's because we decided, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that a polisher would work better.
Yep.
Well, here we are 30 years from now, 40 years from now, that we said, doing this 100 times a day, we have something better.
Yep.
Plug it in and let it reach out 100 times a day, and you can go back to polishing the car or making sales or whatever it is that you're great at.
Yep. So we got managing inventory on here, right? A lot of you got products. There are very few people in the detailing industry that I see that wrap their products into their price, right? If you are not doing that, you are killing yourself, because those products cost money. And I'm not just talking about this bottle of compound, right? I can take that bottle of compound and I can take the dollar amount of that and I can figure out how many jobs that it takes me and I can put that in. But we're talking about shop rags. We're talking about microfiber towels. We're talking about what you pay for water and lights and DI water and every piece of equipment and thing that you use, you should be tracking. And I watch people not do this to the point where it's I can't understand why they don't do it, right? And Jody calls me, well,
what all does he call you, Rob? Let's hear it.
Scrooge McDuck is a nice term. My wife has a better term from that. She says if you put a piece of crepe paper between your ass cheeks, you could walk down the street and not drop it. It's so tight. Okay. So the thing is I just track stuff. Right? I don't have a problem spending money. I build hot rods. I have Harleys. I do all kinds of crap. And I love spending money on the right stuff. But I know exactly how many dollars goes into that stuff. And you should on your business too, because you got to amortize that stuff. If you buy your chemicals in 250-gallon totes, decrement it by the number of ounces you use.
Yep.
Let the system tell you, hey, it's time to order some new stuff, right? How many Revivifies you got on the counter that you need to have, right? How many IGL coatings do you have? Let the system tell you it's time to get more.
I think one thing that you need to understand too is why. One of the biggest questions I see asked most on Facebook and when you call in is how much should I charge for this?
Yep.
How can we tell you how much to charge, or how can you know what to charge if you don't know how much it costs you? You can't. You don't. And I shouldn't be telling you how much to charge, because I don't know how much it costs you to do that service. Now, we can give you an industry average or a ballpark, or this is what it is. And I hate to say industry average because it's not usually apples to apples, but close enough to say this is ballpark what people charge. However, it really don't matter. What can your market bear and what does it cost you? So understanding inventory, understanding cost, and managing that should be done, and you don't have to do it by hand.
Right. And part of that inventory is not just the going out, it's the coming in.
Absolutely.
If I know that I'm doing, by going back a couple of slides, and I'm doing some reports on what services I'm doing, and I know that I'm going to do 15 coatings in the next quarter of the year, next 3 months. How many do I need to have per month to have in there, and having those pre-ordered so you don't have to rush them. You do not have to rush order stuff, pay the extra $40 for a $40 kit, and now you just doubled your cost on the product.
Yeah, and think about this. How do I know when to buy a 50-gallon drum versus a gallon or a pint or whatever it comes? You don't know that unless you understand usage. You don't know, just because I can save big on a gallon. I wouldn't buy $100,000 worth of ceramic in a 50-gallon drum if it was going to take me 6 years to use it. That's not, my money can go make more money in the bank than it can what I save. So if you don't understand it, then you can't make a business decision on what to buy. So inventory coming and going has a huge impact on your business. And we'll just kind of throw it back. You're not going to be able to track these things by hand. So putting it into a system that can help you is imperative.
Which goes right into accounting. You back end this stuff into your QuickBooks or whatever you're accounting. And when I talk about accounting, I want to touch on a couple of things that wrap all this together. Several years ago, we had a client come to us and say he was renting the back of a building right here in Melbourne, Florida. He had one bay. And the owner of the building said, I'm out. I'm done. I'm selling the building. Sorry, man. You've been a good client. I'm done. And this gentleman wanted to buy that building. And he came to us and he said, what can I do to show the bank, because I'm self-employed, what I do? So we put together reports and we showed the kind of services he did, the kind of inventory he had, the value of the inventory that he stocked, how many ceramics he had done, He took a report from an automated system and he took it to the bank and they gave him a loan and he owns the building now, the whole building. So this stuff can help you in ways you don't even think about, right? If you know how much your inventory is valued at, what happens if you have a mobile rig and it gets stolen? Hey man, the insurance guy, I had a mobile rig and I got all my stuff got stolen, all of it. Well, what's it worth? I don't know, polisher's $400 and I had a bunch of products in there. No, have a system that'll tell you the value of that trailer is $4,253.17. Thank you very much. Replace everything.
Yeah, information is everything, and you have power when you understand the numbers behind your business. And most of you are probably not, I say most, some of you are probably not numbers people. All right. Some of you are like, I don't care about that crap. I just want to polish paint. And that's fine. That's fine. But that doesn't mean the banker's not going to ask you for it. And that's not going to mean at the time that somebody offers to buy your business, they're not going to want to know it. And you telling them, I just want to be a great paint polisher, ain't going to cut it. That's not going to solve the problem. So putting it into a system again that can help you with these things is why you do these things and why they're built.
Yep. All right. Dustin touched on this earlier. Stop thinking of software as a cost and see it as a moneymaker, right? We do that with everything else, man. I would just randomly pick some products. Man, I can make a ton of money off of this. This polisher makes you unlimited amounts of money. Again, take that $400 and decrement it out by the number of polishes you can get and charge people for that piece of equipment. PDR guys, rags, whatever it is you're doing, whether your system is just another tool to make you money. Stop thinking of it as a cost. You got to have lights. I don't know anybody that's ever had a building that said, how much am I charging for lights?
Yep.
No, man, I don't need lights. I can polish in the dark. I don't need those lights. I'm not going to pay that extra $12 a month. That's not a cost. That's a must-have. This is too. You need to have something to track.
The only time any of this is an expense, now, according to Uncle Sam, it's an expense. Don't get that confused. But anytime this is an expense is when you don't use it. Anytime this is costing you money is when it's sitting on the shelf. All right, so when you go into detailing for money and somebody says, has anybody here got a good software CRM? You know that everybody's seen that question, right? And there's like 5,000 people, 4,990 of them say Orbisex. Hey, listen, I have a point to this.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
It's like you're paying. No, I'm just playing. Where was I going? Oh, it's not because they just love us so much, right? I would love to think that, or I would think to love that. It's because the software makes some money. If you go ask about a polisher, you're going to see Flex, you're going to see RoadFS, you're going to see all these, because they make them money and they're proud to say that. It's not because we're just that pretty and they love us. It's not. It's because what they have works and they want to tell you about it. Just like they would with the polisher or the towel or what. And you're going to see 100 different softwares because there's 100 different ones. There's a few at the top, but there's a bunch of softwares that solve a bunch of problems. All right. You have to pick the one that's worked for you. But these become expenses, just like software does, when you don't use it. And the ones that are using it understand that this cost is so minimal. You don't complain about a $400 polisher at all, ever, because you're using it every day. Same thing happens with software.
Yep. I'm going to deviate from what we were talking about just for a second because he mentioned other softwares. Go check them all out and do the one that works for you. But ask this question right now because this is absolutely being debated at the highest level of the courts in the United States. Do you use AI to generate your software? That is an extremely important question because right now in the legal system in the United States of America, if you use AI to write that code, you don't own it. And so if you wrote software and used AI, I can take anything I want from it and say, thank you very much, and just go and steal it. So be careful because until that gets solved in the courts, you want to kind of steer clear of stuff that's AI generated as far as software goes.
Yeah, and think about it, guys. You know, detailing is pretty simple. It can be overcomplicated. You can get too much. You know, we're really trying to book jobs, do the job, get paid for the job, and remind the customer when it's time for the next one. Pretty simple process, right? So all these things that come with these softwares that you need to play with are just distraction from the main target. You don't have to have all those things. So don't get overwhelmed with these things that have 1,000 different things you can do because chances are you don't need all that. You just need something to manage the current operation.
Yeah. Find out what the 3 things are for you and 4 things are
absolutely
things that you need solved. Again,
Oh,
main
amen.
thing, do not put it on a shelf. There are so many times that people will do a demo or they'll come in and they'll sign up for a month and we'll go look at their system and we're like, well, Jody hasn't even logged in twice.
Yep.
And then a month later, he's coming to go, you know, man, this is just, it's not working out for us. And I'm like, you logged in.
We should probably tell y'all that. We see, we have a report that says last login, last customer created, last job booked. When you call and say, this just doesn't work, I don't understand it, I don't get it, and you haven't even logged in, come on, bro. Yeah. No, so seriously, we know, I mean, and that's not like, we're not hawking that. But we're looking for trials and we understand that usage creates need. Here's the thing about it. You will solve the problem. You will get software when the pain of whatever it is exceeds the amount you're willing to pay. That means when the customer doesn't show enough and it costs you money and you really can't pay the power bill this month. And you say, God, there's a program that will help me collect deposits. And I know this will reduce the no-shows. This will reduce the cancellations. That's when you'll buy software. When the pain exceeds what you're willing to pay to solve the problem, you'll come find us. And when you do, you're going to go, holy shit, I should have done this 5 years ago.
And we hear that so often. Man, I should have done this 5 years ago. I can't believe I didn't do this. I can't believe I'm not tracking that. And that is, it is such a minimal cost compared to, you know, I say this in a different audience, but sometimes I'll say, how many cups of Starbucks coffee do you drink a month? Add that up and you just paid for your software.
You know, another thing with putting it on the shelf is because people get trapped in setup mode. Okay, let's talk about setup. I can speak to both of us. First of all, we are hands-on in helping you set up. The thing is, when you bought that RoadFS polisher, let me draw back. When you bought that Harbor Freight polisher the first time, you weren't an expert. You had to use it over and over and over. And then you bought the Flex, and then you bought the RoadFS. That was not in order.
Except for the Harbor Freight.
For me, it was, Harbor Freight. I just had to do it. But seriously, you weren't an expert. So what happens is you get in here and you get like, all this stuff's got to be perfect, and I got to know all this stuff. And oh my God, I'm just, you know what? Here, I don't have time to write it on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be perfect to use it, okay? Online booking needs to be fairly perfect. You can use the back end of our softwares and book jobs and create a calendar and communicate to the customers and adjust as you go and fine tune, just like you learned how to polish paint. Yep. You're going to burn an edge and you're going to send the wrong text to the wrong somebody at some point, but that is such a cost of business. Everybody here is messed up. It's going to happen in software. It's so few and far between, it's not even worth mentioning, but that's just part of growth. If you're not doing anything, then you're not going to mess up. So getting in here and understanding and learning and building as you go, it's just part of it.
Yeah, and two of the things that he was saying is really important. Find companies that work with you and want you to succeed. I know both of our companies have people that will help you, will hold your hand, will do whatever you need us to do to make it successful for you. These guys will bend over backwards. Our guys will bend over backwards to get it successful for you. And that is the goal of any software company. So if your software company, if you've never actually talked to them and you look at their logo and you find out the country that they're origined from and the help desk starts with a 11.
All right. And you know why we help you guys? Because we know if we help you get past that one little thing that you're hung up on, and if chances are it's extremely simple, you just don't know the button to click, that you're going to keep using it.
Yep.
And if you keep using it, you're going to pay for it. And at the end of the day, that's what keeps us moving. That's what helps us grow. So when you get stopped at that and you send me a text and you say, Dustin, this thing did this thing, and I need you to take a look at it. It is so important for me to get it while you're there. Trial user. Dustin, I can't remember how you told me how to get to this price. Oh, it's click here. I'll send you a screen share, or I'll jump on a call. Because I know if I help you for 2 minutes, I keep you rolling and you're using the software. And it won't be long before that subscription drops. And then we're happy.
Yeah, and you grow. We've had customers that have come to us that had used a different software package. It wasn't his. And they were completely dissatisfied. I hate software. I'm never doing this again. And the guy's been with us for 10 years. And he went from himself, and now he has 9 employees? 12 employees. So he's completely scaled his business. And when he first came to us, he was one of these guys, he's like, can we help you? You know, I got to be honest with you. I'm not technical at all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to do this. I've tried other ones. It doesn't work. 12 years or 10 years and 12 employees. So.
You know what's funny about that is my 88-year-old granddad has an Instagram account. You are tech savvy when you want to.
Exactly.
If you want to view TikTok, you figured out how to log in. You figured out how to click the video of a girl jumping up and down, didn't you? You can figure out how to put a price on a package. You just don't want to.
Yeah. And I think too often people think that it is a cookie cutter, right? And I use this example. I love this example. There's different markets, right? We got people from Colorado and from Florida right next to each other, and they're not the same market, right? There's two brothers in Phoenix, Arizona that are killing it. They have high-end cars. People travel hundreds of miles on a trailer to get them to ceramic coat their brand new GT3 Porsche. Okay, these guys are killing it. That is not the same as my friend in Yarmouth, Maine, who does interiors in the winter. Don't ask that guy how much to charge because his ceramic coating is $6,000 and he's popping them out for $1,000 because there's two different markets. So don't think it's a cookie cutter. Get a mentor, right? There's two guys I see right here, both for Colorado. They're not competitors. That's why we're up here together. We are not competitors. We collaborate. Yep. Right? And it is something that this industry has needed for a very long time, is companies coming together and working together. Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of that real quick too, there's a lot of divisiveness going on, and it happens, right? That's how people interact, but it doesn't have to be the majority. You can let that divisiveness kind of settle off on its own, and we can create unity. It took stepping out of comfort zones years ago to walk up to these guys and say, yes, I am selling software down here, but I'm just telling you guys, I admire you. I look up to you guys, and y'all are doing a great job. Proud of y'all, or send them a beer or something. Next thing you know, the conversations are, hey man, how frustrating is when this guy logs in here and he doesn't do that. And you're talking about the same thing. Detailers are the same way. There are enough cars, motorcycles, and boats in this nation that we couldn't all do them, and 10 more of us couldn't all do them. Okay? We're not competing. And I don't know about him, but I would take 45,000 of the 90,000 registered detailers and give you 45,000. Now, I promise you we would both be happy. Okay?
Absolutely.
So
the key to that is like I said, stepping outside of that comfort zone and going to the person that's got the shop next to you and saying, hey, sometimes I get these big boats in here and I can't do them by myself. Do you mind if I split it with you and you come in and help me? Absolutely. And that kind of stuff. We've walked customers to each other. The first time I did this, there's another software company that you will not see here this weekend. I don't even know if they're still in the industry. We've seen many of them come and go. Yeah. And I walked a guy up to it, and this is the thing, and I'm not kidding you. I walked up to a guy because he was into PDR, and their software did PDR better. And as I'm walking up, the sales guy's backing up. He thought I was walking up, and I'm like, and I came up and I said, hey, this is so-and-so, and he's into PDR, and I know you guys have a hail matrix, and you guys just do it better, so here you go. And he literally was just like, why would you do that? I'm like, because if I sign him up, and I could do it today, great. I'm a good sales guy. I'm a damn good-looking dude. I could get him signed up.
You are. I was going to mention that, actually. It should have been in your bio.
So the thing about that is I could have signed him up, but he would not have been happy, and then he would have been like, that guy's an ass because he tried to sell me something I don't need. Well, he doesn't need detailing-centric software to go do a hail matrix. He needs the hail software.
We're going to ask you a few questions. Real quick, one question. Who all here uses software in their business every day? So there's a portion of you guys that don't. We are going to ask, which hats off, because a few years ago it was
it's like
5.
1 or 2.
Yeah. So now we're half, or a little bit over half. My last class was half. We're going to ask you a few questions to understand the problems you're trying to solve. And if our software solves that problem, we're going to proceed to show you how it solves that problem. If our software doesn't solve that problem, we're going to pass you off to Rod and says his solves that problem better than ours. Because what good would it be for me to waste time and your time and my time to show you a solution that's not for your set of problems? Like, that's stupid. That's ridiculous. Same thing with a customer pulled up and wanted PPF, and you were trying to sell them on a maintenance wash. Okay, those two, you send it over to the PPF guy and you bring it back over here and we'll keep it clean for you. That's the same way we operate.
Yep. So what kind of questions do you guys have for us? Because we're real close to the time. Yeah. We got to be done.
We're in Georgia and we're coming into voting season.
Yes,
and the CRM that we're using right now, I can't separate
Mhm.
Hey, let's get on schedule. It's getting rough.
Yep. Go talk to Dustin. Come
Yeah.
talk to us. Both
Yep.
of them.
Yeah, we both
Absolutely.
support vehicle types, marine and automotive. We can export
Airplanes.
customer, aviation. We can export customer lists based on those vehicle types and things. So we absolutely can support those issues.
Yep. For sure.
And mass email, and I'm not even, we just
Oh,
signed
yeah.
up with them. I'm not even sure that I can do a mass
Yeah.
email.
Yeah, holler at them. I know that their mass text, mass email is more advanced than ours. So that would be a Rod and Jody one. Start there. And then if y'all proceed and there's other things that you may need, come talk to us.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to say one thing.
Uh-huh.
45 minutes, baby.
He was
What is
quiet
it?
for 45 minutes.
So,
Oh, oh, that's record breaking.
I want to go back to something that they said. How many of you guys use QuickBooks? When you bought QuickBooks, what was support like?
There you go. Right?
Okay.
What is that? Support? What is that?
Right, it is non-existent.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right? You pay somebody to teach you, or you pay somebody to have them do it. These guys, both teams, will teach you how to use the software. That's a big difference, right? Because we're investing in you to help your business. We want to have an impact, right? I mean, Dustin, when he created the software, he was trying to have an impact on his business.
Mhm.
And now he's like, oh, I can help other people.
Absolutely.
Let me have an impact, right? And that's really our driver, is we want to have an impact on your business. So you can spend the weekends with your sweetheart or hi guy or whatever, right? Because you want your time. Because time is the real money that you're trying to get.
Yeah, and we're in the industry. So we're not, these guys behind a computer developing things that we think you might need or we think you might use. Like, my software manages my business every single day. When you call and tell me it doesn't work, I look right outside my window and I see 15 detailers running around. And I see the check. Yeah, we're doing a couple $1 million a year. It's working. It works. Yeah. So it may not solve the exact problem that you have, and that's why there's other software companies that creates competition. That's why there's multiple of us needed, because we all have a different eye for design and the way things should operate and function. And there's the ways things that you want to use. However, we're in this industry together. We detail cars every day, and we use this software to propel us forward. Yep. And I think that you guys should, if you're not using something, you should absolutely take a look at what problems could be solved with a little automation, a little help, identify those things, and then come see us and talk about it.
Yep. So we're at time. Go check out all this stuff. We are everywhere, like Dustin said.
Yeah.
We're not just in the industry. We're out there promoting the industry.
Absolutely.
Doing podcasts, showing you guys how to do it. So
yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
Sir.
During this, I booked with my CRM. I booked 2 details just sitting here. Money in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, it's working.
Very important.
Yep. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys very much.
Appreciate your time. Thank y'all.